super special episode starts now. What's up, guys? Hey, this is Skylar Davis. Welcome to Vinyl Happy Hour. I'm the owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records. This is my finale for my video series that we call Vinyl Happy Hour. Finale, I should say, for season 3. This is episode 30. This is a big special finale, though, because we're wrapping up 2020. My last episode, we're talking about my top 10 records. My opinions, my whatevers, my records I've spun the most and been most excited to add to my collection. But it's a lot different than that because not only is it just my top 10 records, I'm giving a special mention. So it's kind of like my top 20 because I've got 10 additional records. There was just so many good freaking releases last year. Plus I got a few fun little categories since it's wrapping up season 3, leading to season 4. I'm doing top 3 in a few fun categories with some special mentions. I got a little drink handy here. I did my semi-finale show. This is my finale one, so some double oaked Woodford tasty stuff. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Of course, a lot of these records are available still in the store. A lot of them are out of print or gone. I'm just showing them off from like my personal collection. Because not only am I a record store owner, I'm a record enthusiast and I love music, I love records, love going to see shows. When we can do those things. So I'm gonna show these off. There will be a link to like our staff's pick and our website, cultureshockshop.com, but don't be surprised if a lot of these aren't available anymore. That is part of what makes record collecting enthusiastic, exciting, and interesting, is because there's a lot of limited stuff coming and going. So right now, my kind of fun category number 1 before I do my top 10 at the final of the show is going to be my top 3 blast from the past or something like that record. So this is just my honorary mention. This was Static X, Project Regeneration, and they did this on green vinyl. Hadn't heard from these guys in quite a while. Of course, Wayne, the singer, had passed away. But even without him, it just sounds awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's got a real cool, old school kind of new metal sound, a lot of industrial. But that was my honorary mention. My top 3, and I should say this is all my opinion, plus some of it's just dramatized to make the show interesting and just some stuff I happen to have in my collection that I picked up from 2020. This is Lifers from Local H. Hadn't really thought hard about this band since like one of their debut albums, like As Good as Dead. This album's a lot of fun. It jams, it rocks. Super good to hear from them. A super blast from the past. AC/DC Power Up, surprisingly a solid album, heavy, awesome. Of course, they've been putting out albums since, the 70s, but some of their stuff in 90s, 2000s didn't appeal to me as much as their classic era albums, of course. The whole Back in Black streak, having hell. But anyway, Power Up was a great album, so kudos to them. And then, kind of one more in my thing, my blast from the past. I think it's been over 20 years since Hum put out an album. This is an Illinois band. Really great guitar work, great kind of shoegazy sound. Hum, Inlet. Double LP from them, so they came back with a full length, a lot of music, a lot to add to it. It's a great album, front to back, really. I'm not a singles guy anyway, so I like records because I like hearing the whole album. So that was my blast from the past picks. Next one up is the category, I'm just going to call this my 2020 Record Awards. Thank God that got reissued or something like that. So the Crow soundtrack, honorable mention, although it did get reissued for Record Store Day. That sells for probably a couple $100 now. They reissued it, and the D side has the engraving of the Crow. This is a great soundtrack, but of course, tons of songs I really got into, STP, Nine Inch Nails, a lot of other things. So, honorable mention, glad that they finally had reissued that. The Social Network finally got reissued. This is a Trent Reznor soundtrack that he had worked on with Atticus Ross. It's kind of I think 10 years ago when vinyl was kind of dead. Really expensive, and I never hung on or saved an original copy for myself. Thank God it's been reissued. That's my number 3. It's cool because it's kind of Nine Inch Nails-ish with some John Carpenter dark synthwave. How had this not been reissued? Alice in Chains' Facelift, their first album, that got reissued finally. Again, the other super plus about a lot of these reissues is it's the first time you've been able to get them on vinyl or afford them on vinyl. I think it's quite a few $100 for the original pressing of this. So, hey, thank God it's been reissued. And my number 1, thank God it's been reissued, is Tom Petty, Wildflowers. One of the best Tom Petty albums, of course. Especially on solo, and this is called Wildflowers and So Much More or something. So it's a triple LP. It was already a great long album with a lot of material he'd saved up to put into it, but this has some unreleased stuff from that session on the 3rd LP. So they did a really great job with the triple gatefold packaging on it. So Thank God that's back on vinyl. Also, original pressings of that have been selling for like $400 to $600 or something incredibly crazy. So, hey, thank God that's been reissued. Let's talk about some hip hop really quick. My top three, my honorable mention right now for 2020 is going to be the Joyner Lucas ADHD album. Just a great hip hop piece. Just cool use of syllables, and it's got a mixture of the old school, like good rapping mixed with some of that modern skirt stuff and whatever. So it's a lot of fun. It's a killer album. But I got to give it up my number 3 right now. Again, these orders are just kind of monumental, like I said, or whatever, to put something together. These could easily change places, or could even go in my top 10 list even on some of these. But for right now, we'll put them right here at number 3. This is Legends Never Die, the possibly final posthumous release from Juice WRLD. It's just a great album. It really connects with me. Just so many good songs on there. Only 3 albums that he had put out. This Freddie Gibbs piece, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Alfredo. Oh, that's another just a great banger. So I'll just move on from it real quick because we got a lot to cover though. My number 1 hip hop album, which honestly I'm just putting this because I wanted to come up with some kind of fun categories, is Run the Jewels 4. This, though, could probably go maybe even in the top 5, possibly even the top spot in my top 10 albums of the year. But this is cool because I should mention this is an Indie Store exclusive. Super cool that they could do the Run the Jewels for Indie Store exclusive. It's clear with the pink in the center. Great packaging, cool booklet, great gatefold. So not only is this album got the feel of this year with it, great musicianship, great lyrics, great political outlook on things, great consciousness, great packaging. Everything these guys have been doing, I'm on board with. So seeing them live was awesome a few years ago, and every album has kind of keep building up to this. I mean, it's something like that when you see a group like this come together. How much better can they get? Run the Jewels 4 did it. I have just 1 or 2 more categories real quick to cover before I get into my top 10. This one is my, I forgot what this is called. This is my, most surprising or something, like new albums I picked up or new artists. How did I not listen to them before? Honorable mention, Gazpacho. I'm not sure how to say this. They're English, I believe. Gazpacho. This is on the K-Scope record label, which was like Steven Wilson's label of Porcupine Tree. I actually thought they were like an all-instrumental, like post-rock band. I was quite wrong. They are kind of post-rocky, but more of like a prog rock. Just they said they want to make music that tears the earth apart. It's pretty epic to say that. Kind of an older prog rock sound mixed with just cool post-rock, right? More atmospheric music, let's call it. But I hadn't listened to them before, and I thought I knew what they were, and I picked this up. I might go back now and check out some of their older albums in their discography. That's just my honorable mention, though. Intronaut. How had I not gotten into them before? This is just like great progressive metal. It's on color vinyl too. Great packaging, great artwork, everything that kind of goes together with that. Kurt, I believe is his name, from Converge, was the one who produced the album, so it has a really great metal edge to it also. Great one. That's like, call it my top 3 undiscovered picks of the year for 2020. This is another one they hadn't really popped up with me before. I didn't really know much about them. They're a French band. This is Slift. Umin? Not sure how to say the name of the album. What a great album. Double album also. That's kind of weird. Yeah, those other ones were double albums too. So nice, long, epic. And they do focus on a lot of repetition, so it makes sense. It's a long album. Cool, sick artwork. This French band is kind of garagey, krautrock, experimental stuff. Psychedelic, of course. So just a great release. Glad I picked that up and listened to it. I should mention probably all these are going to my personal collection, including this one. This is Idols, Ultra Mono. So I had already heard of them before and listened to them before, but I hadn't had anything in my collection yet. Also, being a vinyl guy, I'm kind of like a prospective buyer playing the market or whatever. I have a feeling this could be a huge album someday that everyone looks back to. And this is still sealed. I have another version of it, but this is the special version with the booklet in it. This could become worth money. A lot of these albums could be. And hell, if they don't, I don't care. It's a great album. It's great to listen to, great to have in my collection. I think that's kind of fun thing about collecting vinyl and playing with music is, what if I trade this off? What if I sell it? I mean, if I sell it and make money, I'm probably just going to buy more records. It's what I do. But I have a feeling there's a few of these things that are already going up in value and things that will become worth money. And not only if they just go up in value, become worth money, I don't want to miss out on the chance to get something when it comes out. That's why we get new things in frequently, and I try to keep people in the loop, because you don't want to have to go and pay an exorbitant price for something that you just want to own and listen to. So yeah, Idols Ultra Mono. We'll talk more about them later probably. I'll move on. Let's talk about some box sets real quick. So here's my box set awards for the year. This was cool. It's not necessarily a box set, but it is a 4 LP kind of like quadruple gatefold thing. S&M 2, the Symphony Orchestra with Metallica, Volume 2. They did this like over 20 years ago. This is the Indie Store exclusive. I just kind of wanted to mention that, show that off. Cool packaging, great artwork and stuff that goes with it, and the photos and booklet of them playing. That's just my honorable mention, though. Careful. Let's move on. So, number 3, I'm just going to say Omar Rodriguez Lopez, the Cloud Hill tapes, 1, 2, and 3. Keep in mind, a lot of these I have covered a little more in depth in previous Vinyl Happy Hour videos. I'm not going to open it up and show it all off, but this is just kind of mostly instrumental, mostly chill, kind of almost proggy in a way, release from him. But the packaging and kind of minimalism of it is really cool. Oh, Beyonce, Homecoming. How cool is this? This is something, I'm not a huge fan of all of Beyonce's work. I really dug the Lemonade, of course, and some other stuff around that era. But this, hearing some of her stuff live and some of her classics and the energy it had at the Coachella event was really cool. I've been enjoying listening to this, and outside of watching some crappy recording of it on like YouTube or something, you know, from the show, hearing it live, I mean, on record, I should say.
You feel like you're there.
Yeah, you feel like you're there. It's got a really great big sound. It's something that you should be opened up, enjoyed, and played loud, I think, and to feel it. So that was cool. But my number 1 box set of the year, which I already talked about in a little more detail, is Mac Miller, Swimming in Circles. This is a special box set of Swimming and in Circles. They did special kind of die-cut box. Each record release, it's his last 2 albums are on different colored vinyl. Just a really kind of interesting box set, and I think the history that this is going to continue to have is going to really sink in with a lot of people, because he put so much into his last couple albums, and he had just been getting better and better until his untimely death. It's not even really hip-hop in a way. It's really going to affect a lot more than just hip-hop. It's got more of that indie psychedelic feel and stuff like that too, and some funk, some soul. Just a real special packaging on that. So box sets, done. Let's move on to some other, I got a couple more quick categories. I got some metal and hardcore and packaging, and then my top 10s are coming right up. This is a lot of fun. I've put a lot of effort into thinking about what am I going to do. 2020 was sick. There's so many great releases, so much good stuff. I'm going to brush past this. This is a Indie Store exclusive special color vinyl from a great metalcore band. August Burns Red, Guardians. This had come out also right around the time of the pandemic and stuff like that. So honorable mention. But my top three, let's get into Lamb of God. I forgot the name of this album even, does it? Is it self-titled? I don't think so. But anyway, it might be. It's a red vinyl. This is just a brutal, heavy album. It's cool. It's moshing. It's got groove metal. It's got a little death metal even. Just a good heavy metal album. Lamb of God. A little older now. They're still rocking it, so that was a great one. And then kind of on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Code Orange. These guys, they did the special release of their album Underneath, and it's got this like 3D cover. This could have been one of my ones for top packaging of the year. It's just got that cool 3D cover. It's got this real dark vinyl. It's like this space blue vinyl. It's barely see-through. Just a great metal release. This is my top like metal and hard. I'm just kind of generalizing it, metal, hardcore, whatever. But yeah, these guys have been getting better and better and kind of pushing the limits on what we consider to be metal and hardcore, because they're a little younger, but they're bringing in elements of like new metal and industrial and hardcore and all this stuff, mixing it together. But my top release was kind of a sleeper. I don't know a lot of people that know them, and I hadn't heard about them. Higher Power. I think they're English, right? 27 Miles Underwater. Wow, this is a blazing out. This is cool. It's also got a little throwback. Definitely reminds me of like some of the first times I heard like Refused and Snapcase and some of that with the higher vocals. But this has been in my rotation quite a bit, and I think it's probably one of my top albums. No special edition that was available. It's just kind of interesting artwork. It's got kind of a 90s throwback look to it. That cut and paste, but just a great hardcore album. So that's my higher power. That's my pick on metal. Not everything has to have special packaging. It's nice when it does, but man, if it's just a good album, that's the most important thing. I should mention, my top 20 picks are all indie store exclusives, believe it or not. Even some of the special packaging ones. So my top 10 with my 10 runner-ups are coming up next. This is just kind of top packaging. The Chariot Long Live. This was actually a record store day release. But I love the way they did this, like, even the, what do you call it, songs are embossed. The song track listing on the back. And it's got this skull on this kind of foil cover embossed. The original artwork was much different. It actually looked like this. So it's got a cool booklet. This is just my honorable mention, but we're just showing it off anyway because it's got cool packaging. So in a great album, this has been very hard to find. Luckily, it got released, and Record Store Day put that together, so thanks to them. But number 3, top packaging. Even though the packaging isn't really that interesting, it's just really because of the artwork. Sleep's Dope Smoker, one of the most stoner, doomerific, best albums ever. But it's not only is it in a nice thick gatefold, it's a double LP. They did put this little insert with it, so you've got your artwork from the album and your track listing on the back. But I love how they've got like the daytime scenes on the picture disc. This was an indie store exclusive. This album came out many years ago, so it's just another random reissue, but a worthy one. And the way the artwork lines up with the day side on one side and the dark nighttime on the other, it's just really cool. So appreciate that. Anyway, that's number 2. Number 3, this is number 2. Mort Garson's Plantasia, Mother Earth's Plantasia. There was a book that had come out in the 70s. This album's from the 70s. What was that book called? I forgot. The Secret Life of Plants. Well, anyway, a whole plant boom started happening in the 70s, and all these hippies and housewives and people, and every house had houseplants. That's why all these 70s and 80s speakers are ruined, because they had houseplants on top of their speakers, and the wood was all full of water. Don't ruin anything, Lauren. I'm joking. I know, I'm just joking. It was like a thing, though. People were making everything. So it's kind of funny that, well, stoners and everybody, it was like a thing. It was like a den of plants everywhere. It was kind of cool. This is a very strange album, a very obscure, very rare one. But the packaging on this reissue is really cool. Mort Garson, this is all Moog music, all kind of synthesizer electronic music for your plants. And the booklet even tells you, what music and what track is for the plants. But the vinyl's real thick. It's cool that it's like all cardboard, glossy, real thick double LP. It's actually mastered from the original tapes. Just cool background music, cool chill music. But one of the coolest things about the packaging and the music and the fact that it got reissued was a little download card that comes with the seeds, wildflower seeds that you can plant. Thought that was really quaint. So really cool release, really obscure stuff, great packaging. That's why it's in my top packaging awards here for Vinyl Happy Hour. My top one, it's a great album, a great packaging. This is actually Bright Eyes, Down in the Weeds Where the World Once Was. Hey, speaking of plants, we're talking about weeds. But this is a great album, first of all. This is an indie store exclusive, which is really cool. But the way that the artwork has this die-cut hole in it, so you can see the red kind of artwork on this side and the orange kind of artwork on this side. You could see the red and orange record through the packaging. And I just thought that was cool. Even the insert, or the inner whatever art, has the hole in it, so you can actually, even with the artwork inside, can see through the record. Just clever packaging, great album. Let's also be happy that old, what's his name, Conor Oberst, had introduced us to Phoebe Bridgers, with an album they had done a few years back here. Oh my God, that's it. Let's get on to the top 10 releases of the year. These are just my personal picks. Again, the order doesn't really matter. I just put them together kind of to have fun with it. I've got top 10 honorable mentions, let's call it. Again, these are mostly from my personal collection. Stuff that we actually picked up throughout the year, me and Lauren did, from Culture Shock. But these were all from Culture Shock, by the way, too. And all the indie store exclusives, of course, only available to independent record stores. We'll call this number 20 or whatever for the sake of this video. Vane, one of these really cool kind of chaotic hardcore bands. I guess they've changed their name now to Vane FM. Cool packaging on this though. It's got like this kind of Japanese like record strip. This just came out on Christmas just a couple weeks ago, so I haven't had time to listen to it a lot. But they did this limited version on red vinyl. And they're also kind of like Code Orange, I feel like. They're bringing back like breakcore, industrial, and new metal, mixing it in with hardcore. It comes with this poster also. Cool packaging. I mean, it might grow higher on my list. Let's see. But anyway, cool packaging. Moving on. Another honorable mention. This one just really fit the bill for the pandemic, I believe. Menzinger is usually a really great kind of uplifted pop punk band. They did Hello from Exile and Indie Store exclusive on this like kind of, this was like sitting through the pandemic, especially when we were closed down. This was like the color of my mind and the world and everything, I think, when that was happening, whatever this color is. So they should have called that pandemic blah. But anyway, it's cool because it's a little more stripped down, a little more raw, a little more acoustic sounding album from them. There's more artwork to show, but let's just move on. Menzingers, let's go on with this. All of these releases I noticed are on colored vinyl, except for a couple that weren't. Even though this is an indie store exclusive, also, I'm going to say 18 of these are brand new releases from new artists or newer bands. This is technically a new release because it had never been released. This is the Stooges live at Goose Lake 1970, from one of the best years of the Stooges still being around. Oh shit, you know what, I just realized everything is on color vinyl except for one release. There's only one release that's on black vinyl out of all 20 of my top. So this was actually marble color vinyl. I think only 1,000 copies of this. And it's screen printed jacket. It's just a killer live set. I mean, the Stooges to me, like their first three, especially their self-titled and Funhouse, you just can't get any better than that. That just kicks out some awesome jams. Even though they're not MC5, they still kick out some jams. But this was a Third Man Records release for indie stores only. Sold out right away, but this is the screen printed cover and it's on color vinyl. It's got the insert of the show they had been playing. This tape, I guess, was in some farmhouse in Michigan, had never been released at all till 2020. So that's why it's in my top of 2020. It's technically a new release. I mean, it's never been out. It's another one hard for me to say. Krangbin, Mordecai from them. These guys are, had deceived me. I thought they were possibly a European or South American band or something. They did this indie store release of their new album. Just really good background music, good chill, kind of funky psychedelic stuff too, but in a real chill way. Cool artwork too. Just kind of in my second tier of my top 10. Dawes, the band that, it's just really easy to listen to anytime. Good Luck with Whatever. That song is also a great song. They did this indie store exclusive on this kind of marbly colored vinyl. It's just really easy to listen to this band. Really happy they put out an album for me to listen to. I can pick this up anytime and listen to it. When I'm in the mood for something a little different, it has little photos of the band and stuff with it too. Cool packaging. That's the other cool thing about these. All of my top picks are indie store exclusives. These were only available to independent record stores. Poppy, I disagree. This was another kind of a real strange one. I didn't know too much about her at first. She'd been doing some strange YouTube videos and what have you, and making more pop music, which this is pop music, but this has some crazy slamming metal and hardcore stuff in parts of it. It's a strange mixture of music, and I like strange, so Poppy, I disagree as one. This is my indie store exclusive of the year, a release that, the only one that I have in my whole top 20 here list that is on black vinyl. This is Neil Young's Homegrown. I want to say Harvest Moon, but this is his album that had originally been intended to come out after Harvest in 70, after he did Harvest in 72. This was his unreleased 1974 album, record store day exclusive. The only thing that makes it a record store day exclusive is that it comes with an art print of the album cover, so you can hang that up, and it's got the record store day sticker. Just a great album from that classic era of Neil Young. Dealt with heartache or some other problems he was going through, and he actually used his veto power to not release the album. He withheld it, This was actually like one of my top watched YouTube videos when I first mentioned this year, and I said, hey, Neil Young, an album he kept from us for 45 years is finally released. So that was kind of fun to see our YouTube channel growing. Hey, subscribe, leave some comments, give us some love, turn on, your subscription or your whatever, turn on your notifications. Turn on your subscription to us. Anyway, You know what I'm saying. So that was just a great album. Glad it's in my collection. Glad it got released. Glad Record Store Day worked with him to do a special version of it. But it's on black vinyl. It's a great album. It doesn't matter. It's the only one that's not in color. But that one and the Stooges one are the only like older recordings that actually just got released this year. Everything else is a new release. Matt Berninger from The National. This is a great album from him. Indie Store exclusive on blue vinyl. It's like translucent sea vinyl or something. I forget what he wants to call it. This is Serpentine Prison. We should call this Serpentine Blue, I guess. Anyway, just a great album. Also, he's got this kind of somber, deep voice, kind of a very serious sounding album too in some parts, but a little fun too. Cool album. Just a great one. Let's see. Am I getting into my... Got two more in my honorable mentions, my 10. This is a different one too that I wasn't sure how I would feel about, but it's been really grown on me. I really like it. Sturgill Simpson. This is Cutting Grass. And the other cool thing about this is a new recording or whatever, but it's bluegrass versions of some of his older songs, and he did this on Indie Store exclusive, green and yellow vinyl, which Cutting Grass, going with the grass theme and stuff like that, the sun and the grass, a great thing, but it's also got that John Deere theme. This is just a real spirited album, though. You know, it's almost in a way has that folky bluegrass gospel, what do you call it, the Bible Belt vibe to it or something like that. But it's good. It's really great recording. They obviously did a great job with it. Huge amount of players on it. But that's something that I'm just happy to have. You know, it's not something I'm going to listen to a ton, but it's there. This one, this one still is growing on me too. This could almost go into my top 10. This is my final honorable mention. The Great Dismal from Nothing. Also just interesting packaging. They had this kind of Japanese obi strip on it. Also color vinyl, got an insert. Very shoegazy album, very kind of dreamy in a lot of parts. It's a really good album. I mean, this is going to be one that definitely sticks with me and stays in my personal collection, I think, forever. Okay, guys, top 10 of 2020. These are all Indie Store exclusives. A lot of these are sold out. Some of them are still available, so if you come in the store and want to check them out, we might not have the Indie Store exclusive. We might have a regular version or whatever. Some of these are still available on our website, too, at cultureshockshop.com. This one is no longer available. This is Tame Impala's Slow Rush. And I only put this at number 10 because I think it's going to grow on me a little more. I think his, well, you know, Kevin or whoever from Tame Impala is kind of a solo project in a way. His couple albums before this I've enjoyed better, I think. This one I'm getting to really enjoy. It's real lush, really kind of slow psychedelic and stuff like that. This is on blue and red vinyl. One record's red, one's blue. Great packaging, great inserts. I showed it off before in another video if you want to check out more on that. But yeah, Tame Impala, Slow Rush. Oh, where am I going to put these stuff? A totally different note here. Mr. Bungle. This is another one. I guess this is kind of new, kind of not. This is the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. This was I don't even know, what, 80s album? Early, mid-80s or something? 85, 86? This is the U.S. Indie Retail exclusive bloody splatter vinyl. This is Mike Patton's band of Faith No More. And he re-recorded his original demo of his first album. It's a double LP. This is death metal, though. I mean, they went on to do a lot more alternative, funky, strange rock and metal. This is like thrashy death metal. He obviously had fun with this. They went back and re-recorded it with some of the original members, plus Scott Ian of Anthrax and Dave Lombardo from Slayer playing drums. They did a great job with the recording of it. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a great thrash kind of death metal album. I'm going to say it's a new release, a 2020 release, because who would have ever heard the original? It's been hard to find. It was just a demo, I think. So, yeah, new release. That's a good one. Did I miss one? No, I didn't. Whew, man, this one I bumped out of my bottom tier to my top tier after hearing it again. I just forgot how good it was. All Them Witches. Nothing as the Ideal. Wow, this is like a slow burner doom album in a way. They did this on clear vinyl, kind of strange artwork, kind of this hieroglyphic looking, kind of bizarre blacklight looking artwork. It's got a real deep vocal to it, a deep sound on the guitar. One of the songs on the second side, I forgot the name of it. It has my best chuggy chug chug of the year too, because it just kind of builds up and it's just slow and low, and then it's got this chug chug chug. So good. Oh, the records are falling over. All Them Witches, though. So that's my, what are we at? Number 7, I think. I don't know. Maybe 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, maybe. I think I miscounted. This is number 7. Okay. Sylvanessa, number 7. Free Love. Great album. I mean, how they make so much music with just, really, it's just vocals and electronics. You know, it's just a 2-piece group. Great packaging on this, though. This is the Indie Store exclusive. And that's like the plastic outer sleeve. But you've got, I forgot their names offhand, but there's her out there in the water, and that's her her DJ, I think, probably. Doing all the electronics and stuff like that. It's a fun album. It's really cool. It's got the side A just fits together so well. You'll just want to play the whole thing together. This is definitely, like I said, great albums are what I'm about, what I'm into. I don't like just hearing one song, although, yeah, Ferris Wheel is a really great song. Just cool. It's kind of dancey in some parts, just kind of electronic in some parts. Her vocals are awesome. Great album. You know, I don't know. I would say maybe album from a couple years ago, a little better maybe, but this one, I have no problem listening to that one anytime. That's why it's my number, I think 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Number 6, Smashing Pumpkins, Sear. They also did this. This one is sealed. I have it on red vinyl too. It's like a marbled red vinyl. This is the Indie Store exclusive purple vinyl. Reason I'm doing that is because some of the last few Smashing Pumpkins albums that haven't been super big hits are out of print already. Super hard to find and already getting super expensive. So I'm gonna have both versions of this album, I think. I have listened to this a lot this year. That's why it's in my top 10 list. I'm not saying it's my top 10 of all times or anything like that. It's just a great album. This is Smashing Pumpkins and Billy Corgan ever maddeningly trying to recreate or trying to achieve Melancholy and Infinite Sadness again, which he does not do. It is a great album, though. It's totally different, and the artwork's very strange, too. Like, you compare the artwork even and stuff, and the track length and the amount of songs, Melancholy just has way more to it, way more going for it, and a way up and down of type of music, you know, from the piano ballads to the steering rock. This is a very kind of guitar pedal and synth-driven, electronic. It's a good album, though. It's real catchy. I really enjoy it. So, and I've played it a lot. That's why it's here in my top list. So already, it's a pretty good album. I don't know how well it'll hold up forever, but when you love the Smashing Pumpkins so much, you're gonna hang on to that album. Keep forgetting my number. I should have numbered these. What are we at? Number 5, 4, 3? Yeah, probably 5. Phoebe Bridgers, Punisher. Wow. I think this is in my top 5 list for me, and I speak for my wife Lauren here, who definitely has been enjoying this album. This one also had a lot of demand. I forgot to mention, a lot of these had a really good hype and a good demand going into it. This is the Indie Store exclusive, though. So it's on, I think it's on Merlot colored vinyl or something like that, or it's supposed to be wine colored vinyl. It's cool. Yeah, it's kind of see-through-ish. So great packaging, great album. This isn't one I like to listen to like really while I'm at the store, while I'm doing some other stuff. This is one I want to sit down and listen to. The recording on it is impeccable. I mean, this is like kind of like whatever you want to talk about, like, oh, the Eagles or Fleetwood Mac or something like that. Just the way everything hits sounds so good. Oh, but this little Punisher booklet that comes with it too, super cool. The whole artwork that goes with the whole album, the packaging on it, the price on it was excellent. I don't remember how much it was, maybe $25 or something. But for limited color vinyl, gatefold, with a booklet and stuff like that, the price was great. I've seen a lot of other things being more expensive. What's funny is we had actually sold out of this, and I didn't even keep a copy of the Indie Store for myself, and someone had returned a copy because it was warped. And it was a little warped. You know, I don't know why, but records often can be, but this is a super flat record now. It flattened back out and plays just fine. Somehow it was meant to come home with us, I guess. So here it is now, and it's one of my top records. You know, usually I lean for things that are a little more experimental, a little heavier, but I definitely dig some folky indie rock stuff too, and she's got a great voice. Yeah, it's a great album. So, like I said, go back. Her last album was really good too. She's only her second album, and then the I always want to call it Better Living Oblivion Center or something. The album that she had done with Connor from Bright Eyes was a really great album too, from a year or two ago now. We're getting down there, guys. Wait, was that number 5? Here's number 4. Oh yeah, My Morning Jacket, The Waterfall. Also kind of came out around the same time. This is on like a Merlot colored vinyl, also very similar to the Phoebe Bridgers. Really cool album. Love Jim James' voice, or whatever his name is, right? I'm bad with names. I'm bad with words and song titles, too. I know albums, and that's what I know. And I know what sounds good to me and what I like to have. So this has a really great laid-back sound to it. Really kind of this soulful. In some ways, I feel that kind of psychedelic groove lock in where I'm just like, oh, just feeling it. Like you're riding the waves of the waterfall, you know? Great album. That's in my top 5 here now, right? Lauren, help me keep these numbers. That was number 4. All right. This is my number 3. These numbers really don't mean anything. These albums are all just great, but I wanna play by the numbers here. So again, any day of the week or month or year, these things could flip or become better than others. So this is another one that got released right at the beginning of the pandemic. Fiona Apple. Wow, this could have been in my Blast from the Past category or whatever. Fetch the Bolt Cutters. Double LP also. I mean, she puts a lot of work into this album, a lot of songs. This is on opaque pearl vinyl, I think she calls it. Great album though, great artwork too. It just looks kind of fun, sounds kind of fun. It's definitely got some deeper subjects to be addressed also. Great album though, and this is definitely has held up. I mean, this came out, like I said, closer to the beginning of 2020, and it's still a great album. So, and she had a lot to overcome because she had already put out such a great album so early in her career. So for someone to come back and do something that late, I don't know, 20-something years later, it says a lot. So that's my number 3 of my top 10 records of the year. And top 10 records, to me, it has to be on vinyl. There's a lot of records I didn't get a chance to listen to, didn't have time, didn't have money, whatever. Or a few artists didn't even release their stuff on vinyl. Come on. So number 2, let's say, Deftones, Ohms. Wow. This is another band. I didn't know in my younger years that I'd still be liking this band this many years later, and how they would change with the times and with their own kind of maturity and with what I'm into to my ear, to my sound. So good to hear them. Even their last couple of albums were a big change in direction of sound too, and it just got deeper. A lot of people, I don't know why I've always associated them with more of this nu metal kind of sound, which, you know, whatever. I guess, you know, when you're wearing Adidas and Converse and pony jackets and chain wallets back in the day, you're always going to get this nu metal tag, I guess. But it's a cool album. It's a deep album. It's kind of more shoegazy in a way. It's just got this really well recorded sound level going throughout it. It's good. I'm looking forward. I heard they're already going to be doing another album soon, I think. Or I don't know. They've got some new song, and they're reissuing White Pony coming out. So if you want to get on the board for that, you can pre-order that one on our website too at cultureshockshop.com. That's coming out next month. This is the gold vinyl version, indie store. That one is sold out, but luckily the album itself is still available on vinyl. Luckily, a lot of albums do go out of print for some reason right away, and it's hard to get. So, okay, guys, this one. That's why I didn't talk about it too much earlier. This is my top pick of the year, and this one I think it kind of is my top pick just because. Just like blew me away, and it's just so good, and it's an unexpected one too. This was already mentioned in my unexpected finds of the year or whatever. This is Idles Ultra Mono, and this is an ultra heavy, ultra great album, ultra deep, dark, interesting album. Oh my god, this is an English kind of punk rock band, but they're more than punk rock. It's like post rock, and it just gets heavy. The artwork is really interesting too. They also released it in a way where it's kind of like it could be either side of the album. There's like this sculpture cabinet thing on the one side. Here's the guy getting his face smashed by this big pink ball on this side. This album jams, and it just rocks. And the album packaging, of course, is cool on this one. Like I said, I've got 2 copies of this. I got the deluxe version with the booklet and photos. This one they're calling Black and White Vortex vinyl. But I wanted a reason to have this as my top pick of the year. Such a freaking good album. Even the little stickers on the side. I had listened to them though. I'd listened to their last couple of albums and I really liked it, but then something locked in with this one. They're kind of also coming from a punk rock, post rock, almost a hardcore way of talking about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of talk about racism and politics and sexism and, you know, masculinity and other things like that, toxic masculinity. So it's got a lot of, you know, the way it's spoken poetically and screamed at you in a way where you can understand it is also really good. And in a way where I enjoy the Stooges or Wire or something like that too. Just such a cool album. If you haven't listened to Idles, I urge you to listen to them. And all of these albums, I urge you to take a listen to at least drop your needle on a few of them, or pick up some Spotify tracks, whatever you want to do. Expand your mind. Obviously, a lot of mine are still linked to a lot of 90s bands and stuff like that. And I listen to a lot of stoner, doom, and psych, but I'm all over the place. I've got some bluegrass and piano music and some shoegaze music and some other things like that, and even some punk and hardcore, of course. So all over the place, just so many great releases, of course. Shout out to my local release, 2 of the year. Let's talk about Sick Horse doing their CD with us. And of course, Evil Zenith doing their CD with us. There was a lot of great local releases in the area too. But yeah, I just have a lot of fun with this, and I appreciate you guys watching us. This was our Season 3 finale for Vinyl Happy Hour. Every week we're going to be continuing to do some videos. We might we're not going to take a break. We're just going to keep rolling right into Season 4 next week. That's right, because there is some new releases that just dropped this week and are coming out next week that we want to make sure you're in the know about, because some of these things, I swear, you blink and they're sold out or gone, and you don't have a chance to get them and own them. But much appreciation to you for watching our channel, also for shopping our store in person and on our website. Please, I would love to hear if you have any comments on any of the albums I mentioned. Obviously, if I missed some stuff, which I did, like I said, I didn't listen to every album, nor do I own every album. I'd like to. Leave me some comments on something you think that we should listen to or that we should definitely stock in the store. I want to know what's on your list. Do you have a top 3 or some 3 honorable mentions or something? Leave us a comment, shoot us a message. Also, shoot us a message if there's some of these albums you're looking for and can't find on our website. We'll see what we can do to get a copy for you. But yeah, keep checking out our show, and we appreciate all the support that you guys give us. Again, this is Skylar from Culture Shock Records here in Rockford, Illinois. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun for our record awards of 2020. Onward to 2021, please. Thank you.